Hello, my name is Tracy Tarkenton, and I will be discussing school shootings. More specifically, the 2018 school shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. The day started like any other for Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School students and faculty. Students went to class, teachers taught their lessons, and the entire school participated in an early morning fire drill. 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz would later go on a shooting rampage, forever changing the lives of those in Parkland, Florida. The shooting rampage that Nicholas Cruz went on killed 14 students and 3 faculty members. He also wounded 17 others. While students were escaping the school, Cruz blended in with the crowds and escaped. The shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School is now one of the top 5 worst school shootings in the United States. Nicholas Cruz was a former student of Marjory Stoneman Douglas. It was revealed that he was expelled for disciplinary issues. On February 14, 2018, at 2:19 p.m., 11 minutes before school let out for the day, an Uber pulled up to the school and Nicholas Cruz exited with black bags in hand. Cruz stored his weapons in these bags. He made his way into the school's freshman building where a faculty member spotted him. Nicholas Cruz hid in the stairwell while assembling his weapons. There, he saw a 15-year-old student and told them, "You better get out of here, things are going to get messy." Following the encounter with the student, Nicholas Cruz opened fire down the long first-floor hallway. Within 2 minutes, Cruz was able to kill 11 people and injure 13 others. While traveling to the second floor, Nicholas pulled the fire alarm, confusing students and faculty members. There was a fire drill earlier that day. Once he got to the second floor, Cruz entered the faculty lounge, set up his weapon, similar to a sniper, and continued his shooting. He would end up killing 6 more people and injuring 4 more. During the commotion to leave the school, Cruz was able to rid himself of his weapons, blend in with the crowd of students, and escape the school. He would later make his way to Subway for a meal before ultimately being captured. In 2017, the Federal Bureau of Investigation received a tip out of Mississippi. There was an individual on YouTube that made a comment stating, "I'm going to be a professional school shooter." The individual had a screen name of Nicholas Cruz. An investigation was opened into the tip, however, the commenter's identity could not be found and the case was soon closed. In early 2018, the FBI received information from a close family friend of Nicholas Cruz. The friend expressed their concern about Cruz and his well-being. They stated that Cruz made comments about harming himself and others. He frequently referenced the terrorist organization ISIS and purchased several weapons, even threatening his own mother with a gun. The friend went on to say that Cruz mutilated small animals and expressed their concern that he may shoot up a school. The FBI passed this tip along to the Parkland Police Department, but the police did not look into it. After a search of his social media, it was discovered that Nicholas Cruz had multiple pictures of himself with weapons. Following the shooting, Parkland Police Department and the FBI revisited the warning signs that were presented to them. The Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School Safety Commission was formed and looked into the events of February 14, 2018. They discovered that the high school lacked security efforts and the Parkland Police Department did little to initially respond to the events of a school shooting. Scott Peterson was the school resource officer at Stoneman Douglas. Following the shooting, he was condemned for his lack of efforts during a school shooting and was ultimately charged with neglect and failing to protect students. His trial is set for 2023. After these discoveries, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement opened an investigation against Parkland law enforcement for the attack. When parents received word of what was happening at Stoneman Douglas, they rushed to the school to find out more information. News outlets and safety personnel also rushed to the school. While students were coming out, some spoke with news outlets. Kelsey Friend was a freshman during the shooting. She told a news reporter of the heroic actions of teacher Scott Beagle. Beagle pulled Kelsey and many other students into his classroom to get them away from the shooting. He then locked the students in his classroom while he went into the hall. Kelsey remembered the sound of Beagle's body hitting the door. Macio Baluja was a student who escaped from the school. She remembers her and her friend rushing out of one of the side doors and jumping a fence. She was huddled with the rest of the students after many others escaped the school. She described the feeling while waiting for information. When officers received word of who the gunman was, they rushed to find Nicholas Cruz. After scouring the crowds of students, they found Cruz at a local subway and arrested him. Officer Leonard of the Parkland Police Department recalled questioning if this was the person who ruthlessly killed all of these people. He also noticed how average-looking Nicholas Cruz was. Following the attack, teacher Melissa Folkowski recalls her actions to protect students and the emotions she felt. These are the 17 lives lost at the hands of Nicholas Cruz: Alyssa Al-Hadef, Martin Anguiano, Scott Beagle, Nicholas Duwaret, Aaron Fees, Jamie Gutenberg, Chris Hickson, Luke Hoyer, Kara Lauren, Gina Montalto, Joaquin Oliver, Elena Petty, Meadow Pollock, Helena Ramsey, Alex Schachner, Carmen Schintrup, Peter Wang. Nicholas Cruz appeared in court in 2022. He was charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder and 17 counts of first-degree murder. Originally, the prosecutors pushed for the death penalty, but Cruz was spared by 2 jurors who ultimately decided that was not needed. The trial lasted a while, and during his sentencing, the families of the victims were able to make statements towards Cruz. Many of them wished the worst for Cruz, and many of them attacked his actions during the trial and the actions of his legal team. Following the days of the victims' statements, Cruz issued a statement. He expressed his guilt for his actions, but said so with a still face and showed no emotion or remorse. Throughout the trial, Cruz can be seen laughing with his legal team and having no emotion, which is why it is in quotations. Nicholas Cruz was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. School shootings happen at an alarming rate in the United States. Since 2009, there have been 288 school shootings in the U.S. Since the Columbine shooting in 1999, there have been 304 fatal school shootings. The United States has 57 times more school shootings than other nations across the world. Following the Parkland school shooting, the topic of gun control has been discussed heavily in the United States. The survivors of this shooting started a movement to have stricter gun laws. The Parkland shooting pushed legislators to pass restricted gun laws, and 50 new laws were presented. There have been numerous school shootings since the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting, and more gun laws are being presented. Hardships in American politics create issues regarding these laws and their passage. I had the opportunity to interview 2 teachers and a student to get their input on the topic of school shootings. Teacher number 1 is based in Virginia Beach, Virginia. When asked about their input on school shootings, they expressed their opinions about the publicity the media creates. They are concerned someone might see the news and want to participate. I also asked about their school procedures in the event of an active shooter. It was pretty simple: lock the doors and hide. Finally, I asked about their fears of school shootings. They said they try not to worry about an active shooter because they would be incapable of effectively doing their job. Teacher number 2 is based in Richmond, Virginia. It was interesting to compare the responses from both teachers. This teacher expressed their fear of school shootings, but also stood alongside the first teacher when it came to effectively doing their job. This teacher shared a similar plan in the event of an active shooter, but expressed their concern of having a campus-based school. They stated, "There is only one way in and one way out. We need to be prepared to fight." Finally, I interviewed a student. This student went to high school in Lynchburg, Virginia, and moved to Richmond, Virginia for college. I wanted to get input from both students and teachers regarding school shootings and active shooter drills. It was interesting to see the responses that the student gave when compared to the teachers. All 3 introduced similar active shooter procedures, but it introduces many questions as well. I would like to thank you all for your attention during this presentation. The events at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on February 14, 2018 were unthinkable. The nation mourned alongside those involved in the massacre. May the 17 lives lost rest in peace. Thank you.